to the verdict itself?
I don't know. Surprised. I gotta admit it. Like my first reaction was surprise, just because it kind of, to me, signified a new era, like signified something different. And I think after, after years and years of seeing stuff play out differently, where you're almost in disbelief, where you kind of look at things and you think either coming from a generation where you don't want to believe law enforcement is ever going to be the bad guys, ever going to actually do something that grossly out of the realm of what they should be doing and get that far off course, and just being of that age bracket where you just tend to kind of believe that the police weren't going to do anything bad, and then kind of seeing some of the same struggles and everything that everybody had, just with incident after incident that's occurred, and just kind of wondering where the justice was going to be at. So it kind of left you with a feeling of, man, like, still surprised and shocked. I mean, even as a black man, but also as a police officer, it was like I was a little startled, a little shocked. And that was my first initial, my first initial thought was just that, just like, okay, here it is, yeah, like this makes it reality, like this makes it real, because at the end of the day, that's what, like, a verdict for me, like spending 20 years in law enforcement, that's what it means to me. That means that it's that independent group sat there and listened to all the evidence with all the support they needed from the courts. And if I'm going to believe in what the courts are about, I'm going to believe in what the system is about, then that means that, yeah, he did it, he was wrong, and here was a cop that went too far. Not in a movie, not the rumors of whether a person went too far, not a portrayal on social media. Like, here was a cop who, for whatever reason, went too far, did too much, and got outside of the bounds of what we're supposed to be and what we're supposed to represent and what we're supposed to do. And then to see society pause for a moment and, with everybody watching, hold that guy accountable for those decisions that he made. It was definitely a major moment.
You're in an interesting spot because you mentioned it. You have to balance. You are a black man, but you're also the head of a law enforcement agency. Did that hit you particularly harder? Trying to balance those two issues?
I think before the verdict and after the verdict continue to, for me, hit me hard. The moment that it came in, I was just like everybody else, watching to see what was going to happen, watching to see where it was going to go, watching to see where we as a society were going to take it, and what those people with that jury was going to say. So I think that I was just Michael. I was just Michael in the moment, watching it, waiting to see, and then it's the ramifications of it is what I think where the weight comes from. It's the ramifications, and that was what I mean by before and after. So before, trying to make sure that you're not managing a department that looks like him, that functions like him, like that, and then afterwards, trying to deal with making sure that our public, our society, our community sees us as more than that, especially now that he has been convicted and that guy has stained the badge and has dirtied our patch, trying to make sure that this community sees this group of individuals that work here differently than that.
There's a lot of talk about reforming police. I mean, quite simply, is policing in America racist, the way it's done now?
Um, I'll take a step back and I'm going to answer it in this way, the way that I was always taught. My dad always told me that a badge, a patch, and a uniform is not going to inherently be racist. It's not going to be good. It's not going to be bad. It's the people inside of the uniform. It's the person wearing that badge. It's the people that make up the institution that breathe that kind of life and that kind of bias and that kind of energy into a place, into a house. So I've dedicated my life to this. I watched my dad dedicate his life to this. So I inherently don't believe that the role of policing, that the job of policing, that the institution of the different police departments and what is American criminal justice is inherently racist. And even if it was at its beginning, at its root, when it started, we're now in positions to occupy this. We wear the uniforms, we fill the stations, we drive that car down the street, we administer or disperse justice, when you go on a call. So even if it was something that was made with bad intentions, that was designed with ill intent, doesn't mean that I have to proceed and carry that out when I'm the person wearing the badge, I'm the person in the uniform, I'm the person that has the gun on my hip. So regardless of whatever it was at its intent, I know what it can be now. And that's how I was taught. That's how I was raised. It's going to be what I make it. It's going to, like my dad always said, hey, once you're out of field training, once you're done with the academy, once you're by yourself in that car with your duty bag next to you, with your clipboard on it, and you're answering those calls and going to people's houses that mean something to you, it's your turn to do it how you see fit. And I didn't know what the other guys were doing when they went on calls, but I knew what I was in control of when I got there and what I wanted people to see when it came from me. That's a difference now that I see as being in a leadership role. It was so much easier just to be in control of myself and how people thought of me or how people thought of what I was doing when I was answering calls. Now being responsible for so many other people, for 100 or 90 some other individuals, it's a lot tougher. It's a lot tougher, and just trying to make sure that you walk that healthy balance of maintaining a good rapport and a good relationship, and being supportive of the individuals that you're charged with taking care of as far as your team, but at the same time trying to make sure that they know that you're right there to hold them accountable, that you aren't going to settle for anything less than professional when they hit the street, regardless of what they have in their heart.
Is it, what do you take away from the verdict to bring back here? And is there anything that you can look, not even that happened there, but like to make sure it doesn't happen here?
What I saw when I watched the clips of that video was disgusting. What I saw when I looked in that man's eyes was something dark. And that when you watched what was occurring when I did stop to watch some of the videos that were taken, whether it was the body camera video or the civilian that recorded it, what I saw was a man who was motivated to go too far, an individual who took it upon himself to want to assert his dominance in a situation. And the thing that I'm proud of was I got to see this place from a lot of different perspectives, the York City Police Department, policing in general, but I got to see most importantly, I got to see this place. And regardless of where I was in life, I always had people to remind me that I was human, to remind me that I was no different than the person I was throwing cuffs on, to remind me that I was no better or no worse than those individuals, those people who were watching in that crowd. And I'm thankful to say that along the way, this place has always been filled with individuals who've been willing to tap you on the shoulder, who've been willing to tap you on the back when they thought you were going too far, when they thought you were starting to get a little out of pocket, when they thought you had too much emotion involved in that situation that you were dealing with. And that's the thing that I would continue to say. One, what he did and who he was doesn't reflect every badge. It doesn't reflect everything that we do in law enforcement. I would like to think, I would like to believe prayerfully, deep down when I look in the mirror, I would like to believe that had I been one of the officers there, I would have pulled him off.